country. Leadership TV for God and country.
Hello there. Today is December 5th, Tuesday 2023, and the program is Inside Nigeria, reaching your leadership television. My name is Winifred Ugbebo, your host on the program. As usual, on the Inside Nigeria, we like to review and discuss front headline stories on some select newspapers, including Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. As you can see, I have an array of newspapers on the table just for your review, talking about Leadership, Nigeria's most influential newspaper, THISDAY, Vanguard, The Guardian, Daily Sun, and The Punch newspapers, all for review on this first segment and only segment of the show, because unfortunately I don't have a guest coming in on today's program. As we normally do on the program, we like to flag off with Nigeria's most influential leadership. Let's see Leadership's leading story. Leadership says anger as army bombs Kaduna villagers. Anger as army bombs Kaduna villagers. Residents claim 80 killed, 50 injured. It was done in error. We were after terrorists, says General Officer Commanding. Governor Sani, Northern Elders demand probe. I'll take that leading story once again. The story broke, I think, yesterday, and of course there has been anger and anguish in the land, especially in Kaduna, where the event took place. Anger as army bombs Kaduna villagers. Residents claim 80 killed, 50 injured. It was done in error. We're after terrorists, says General Officer Commanding. Governor Sani, Northern Elders demand probe. That's the leading story on Leadership. Beside that, we have Additional's memo working with Buhari for launch January 16. Justice Minister pushes for non-custodial sentencing. Trial Boko Haram terrorists resumes. Federal government takes over completed second Niger bridge. And of course, on the business page, on the business boss, we have banks limit withdrawals to 10,000 naira as cash scarcity bites harder. Banks limit withdrawals to 10,000 naira as cash scarcity bites harder. And just beneath that, we have Federal Government Defense Corp, that is Conference of Parties 28th delegation amid controversies. This story is on page 7 on Leadership newspaper. Of course, that is still a developing story, considering the controversies that trade Nigeria's delegation to Conference of Party 28 event that took place in United Arab Emirates, UAE. Federal Government Defense Corp 28 delegation amid controversies. The story continues on page 7 of Leadership, and from that we move to the ones above the masthead. 38 adopted varsity students still with bandits' parents. Gaza, Israel intensifies ground operations. There's a story that continues on page 4 of Leadership, and with that we move to the page 3 of the paper, where we have our stand is a regular on Leadership. Our stand today is on Senate is right on local government funds. Senate is right on local government funds. That's the editorial today, Tuesday, December 5, 2023. From the editorial, we move straight to the back page of the paper. Tuesday column with Ray Murphy. Ray Murphy is writing on Nigeria's unworthy delegation to Dubai for World Climate Summit. Nigeria's unworthy delegation to Dubai for World Climate Summit. And shortly, just before we go, let's see what Ghana Must Go is saying on Leadership, because it's been a while. Ghana Must Go says, don't give up on government. Is the news from the SGF Akume. Don't give up on government. And of course, Ghana Must Go replies with a cup of Gary selling for 200 naira. Well, that is a fine answer to that. Well, for more on this continuation of headline stories, inside stories, and the editorial, you log on to the website of Leadership, www.leadership.ng. From Leadership is still the same trending story on the Kaduna bombing on the Punch. The Punch says outrage as warplane kills 85 in Kaduna village bombing. Outrage as warplane kills 85 in Kaduna village bombing. Villagers lament bombing during Malut celebration. Deputy Governor begs Islamic clerics. Khan AI orders condemn airstrike. Accidental bombings kill 425 citizens since 2017. And just beneath that, we have even the picture caption for the story underneath. Collapsed bridge making life unbearable. Lagos community laments. Collapsed bridge making life unbearable. Lagos community laments. That is the second leading story on the Punch, and of course it's followed by pictorials above that. Underneath it, we have villagers flee 5 Bono communities over terrorist threats. Police family keep mum as kidnappers demand 30 million naira for Abuja victims. Emefiele, US group alleges human rights violation. And above the masthead of the Punch, cash shortage hits banks. Customers rush for BVN NIN revalidation. 366 Boko Haram terrorists convicted, 4 financials jailed. Attorney General of the Federation. Funding 422 delegates to COP 28 wasteful. Opposition takes federal government. Funding 422 delegates to COP 28 wasteful. Opposition takes federal government. The story continues on page 21 of the Punch. For more on these inside stories, log on to the website of the Punch, www.punchng.com. Still on the Kaduna Army bombing, we also have it on the Guardian, on Daily Sun's cover. Daily Sun says, as cause lose lives in Army against villagers in target error. Says pilots mistook victims for terrorists. Kaduna investigating incidents, governor. I'll take that leading story again on Daily Sun. As cause lose lives in Biri, Army admits killing villagers in bombing target error. Says pilots mistook victims for terrorists. Kaduna investigating incident, according to the governor. And just by the side, we have other leading stories as well on Daily Sun. You must take responsibility for Buhari's failure. APC chieftain tells Tinubu. UK begins implementation of ban on Nigerian students. Orders from bringing family members. Health workers urge NJC to address Nigeria's justice delivery challenge. Health workers urge NJC to address Nigeria's justice delivery challenge. Rest promise to amend FRA, open up budgeting processes. Omishore buries Nigerians over budget padding insinuations. Elumelu sees global leaders immediate climate action for Africa. And of course, the second leading story on Daily Sun says, AGF, Fagbemi leads prosecution as court jails Boko Haram financiers 40 years. AGF, that is the Attorney General of the Federation, Fagbemi leads prosecution as court jails 4 Boko Haram financiers 40 years. Urges judges to stop remanding minor offenders with hardened criminals. President's Chief of Staff explains appointment of young Nigerians as ministers' aides. This story continues on page 27 of Daily Sun. And of course, the last story on the masthead of Daily Sun today, just beside the masthead, says EFCC chairman talks tough on anti-graft war, rights abuses orders. Says it won't be business as usual. Rules out indiscriminate freezing of accounts. These are the leading stories on Daily Sun today, Tuesday, December 5, 2023. For more stories on Daily Sun, inside stories, the editorial, and backpage, log on to the website of Daily Sun, www.sunnynewsonline.com. From Daily Sun, we move over to Vanguard. Vanguard also has similar story as these other papers before it. Vanguard says Kaduna 50 killed in army's aerial bombing of bandits. Kaduna 50 killed in army's aerial bombing of bandits. Actually, other papers have 82, while some have 85, like the Punch. But however, Kaduna Vanguard reports 50 killed in army's aerial bombing of bandits. 53 injured. Air Force denies involvement. Governor Sani orders probe of Kaduna drone attack. Offers survivors free Medicare. Tudunbiri's bombing regrettable. Can Arewa Youth Group condemns mistaken bombing. In quote, it was by Allah's mercy that we survived. Survival. NEF demands investigation. NEF means Northern Elders Forum. Demands investigation. That's a leading story on Vanguard, as well as other stories before it: Leadership, Daily Sun, and The Punch. Still on Vanguard newspaper, gas flare in Nigeria loses 702 billion naira as oil fence flare 241 million SCF. Federal government resumes trial of hardened Boko Haram / ISWAP terror suspects. While we pass 2024 budget for second reading, Abaribe. I have not seen lawmakers debating budget without detailed breakdown. And Nigi. Senate Appropriations Committee meets with MDAs, stakeholders, orders today. Benue APC crisis. Senate President Gemadi Akaregega orders pass confidence vote on Aliyah. Nigerian trade surplus rises 47% to 1.8 trillion naira in third quarter of 2023. And in sports, Pesero safe until AFCON. That's what the sports minister says. Pesero safe until after AFCON. Sports minister. And of course, we move to the ones above the masthead. Aganga converses offshore dollar-linked investments of pension funds. Aganga converses offshore dollar-linked investments of pension funds. The story is on page 9 of Vanguard. COP 28, that is Conference of Parties 28. Federal government sponsored only 422 delegates. Information Minister. Emefiele, Nigerians in US accuse federal government of rights abuse. Obi knocks federal government over VP Shettiman's new residence. Of course, that was a developing story, as the FCT minister has said 15 billion naira will be needed to renovate the vice president's residence. And of course, Obi reacting to that says knocks federal government over VP Shettiman's new residence. From Vanguard newspaper, we move over to the next on our menu this day. This says Information Minister, federal government sponsored only 422 Nigerian delegates to COP 28 summit. Says Tinubu, other government officials are in Dubai for serious business, not jamboree. Obaseki, why I decided to attend the conference virtually from Benin. And of course, the story continues on page 24 of this day. I'll take that again. Information Minister, federal government sponsored only 422 Nigerian delegates to COP 28 summit. Says Tinubu, other government officials are in Dubai for serious business, not jamboree. And of course, the Edo State Governor Obaseki says he decided to attend the conference virtually from Benin. Other headline stories on this day says Kaduna government, army has taken responsibility for community bombing. We weren't involved, Air Force absolves self. Sani wants accidental killings investigated. Abbas months. Emefiele, Nigerians in US raise the alarm over alleged human rights violation by Tinubu's government. Olukayode, EFCC undergoing total overhaul, must change its modus operandi. This story is on page 27 of this day. Of course, every Nigerian look forward to that. No more media trial. And above the masthead of this day, Nigeria records 1.88 trillion naira trade surplus in third quarter. Petroleum products account for 8.54 trillion naira of 10.35 trillion naira exports. Spain is major trading partner. NLC, next minimum wage will be based on cost of living. That's all we can take on these days' headline stories today, Tuesday, December 5, 2023. For more on this leadership, THISDAY news, inside pages, editorial, and of course the back page. Log on to the website of THISDAY, www.thisdaylive.com. And from this day, we have the last paper on our menu, and that is The Guardian. Guardian's leading story today says despite 4 million out-of-school children, Kano Sokoto orders spent 53.2 billion naira on scholarships abroad. Despite 4 million out-of-school children, Kano Sokoto orders spent 53.2 billion naira on scholarships abroad. And just like typical The Guardian, they have illustration beneath that leading story to highlight the leading headline story. Over 120,000 foreign scholarships by 5 states in 10 years. And of course, that's where we have, in these states, where we have 4 million out-of-school children. It breaks down to between 2013 to 2023, that is 10 good years. Kano spent 36.5 billion naira sponsoring about 115,288 students abroad. Between 2013 and 2023, that is approximately 10 years, Kano spent 36.5 billion naira sponsoring about 115,288 students abroad, while Sokoto spent 14 billion naira between 2016 to 2022, that is 6 years on 4,600 students. Bono spent 588 million naira between 2020 to 2023, that is 3 years, on 180 students. Katsina spent 625 million naira between 2018 to 2023, that is 5 years, on 180 students. Adamawa in 2023 sponsored 120 students. That's the breakdown of the headline story on The Guardian. Despite 4 million out-of-school children, Kano Sokoto orders spent 53.2 billion naira on scholarships abroad. Protests in Unica over 100% hike in fees levies. Police in Rivers detain 4 officers over kidnap of hotel staff. Is on Metro page 8 of The Guardian. Over 80 dead as army admits error in 10th accidental bombing in 2 years, is on news page 6 of The Guardian. Tinubu faces fresh legal hurdle at Supreme Court. Anti-Torture Act not for savage security operatives suspect, is on the news analysis page 4 of The Guardian. So as with this last headline story, we've come to the end of today's newspaper review on Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. It's your breakfast show where we discuss and review front page headline stories on some select newspapers. My name is Winifred Webo. Don't forget, same time, same station is another date. Do keep a date with us. See you then. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 08036886158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.